Hello and thanks for staying with us. Customs impound arms and ammunition in Kebbi State. Also on Customs reports, goods worth millions of naira impounded by Controller General of Customs Strike Force operating in the western part of the country. Plus, more report. I am Egiseme Etinye. Stay tuned.
Approved the reopening of the 4 land borders, namely Seme southwest part of the country, Ilela in the northwest part of the country, Maitagari in the northwest and north central part of the country, and Mfu in the south part of the country. So these 4 land borders will be opened immediately, while the remaining borders are directed to be opened on or before 31st of December 2020. Mr. President has also directed that the reopening of the borders, while the borders are being reopened, that the ban on the importation of rice, poultry, and other banned products still subsists and will be implemented by the border patrol team.
As you're all aware, before the border closures, a lot of petroleum products were being smuggled across the borders into West African countries, and the border closures has created a situation that has practically stopped. So they've been able to calculate the amount of petroleum products that were being smuggled out by calculating the amount that is being lifted now compared to what was being lifted before. The issue of smuggling of rice into the country has reduced drastically, and we're hoping that our agencies will be able to sustain that. So also the issue of poultry smuggling. A lot of it has to do with smuggling, and the closure of the borders has put a stop to that. And all we're hoping now is that our agencies will be able to sustain that. Also, very important was the issue of the importation of small arms and weapons into the country. That also has been stopped. And like I said, we are hoping and we are sure that this time around that our security agencies will be able to see to it that that doesn't reoccur again.
The Nigerian Customs Service has caught 3 suspects responsible for the importation of 73 locally manufactured guns and 891 live cartridges into the country. The seized arms were concealed right inside bags of locally produced rice in the country. The truck and the consignment has been impounded and seized by men of the Nigerian Customs Service.
By the grace of God, I resumed here about 2 weeks ago, and I'm glad that I'm meeting a beautiful family that inshallah I want to work together to ensure the success of our endeavors. As you all know, fresh are very important. They can make or mar. Before now, I ran away from press, but I have no alternative than to remain with you, because I know you are partners in progress. We are here today to witness a very important task that we achieved within this short time of my assumption.
This procedure was made possible by incredible information received from our stakeholders. Other agencies sincerely perform wonderfully by cooperating to ensure this procedure is properly secured. Without the cooperation of other agencies, this cannot be possible. It is a part that you know I know. No one can do it alone. If you want to do it alone, it's going to be shabby. If you want it clean, you must carry people along, so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to achieve what you are expected to achieve. The agencies where this happens in Yauri, Zamare waterside, sincerely cooperated a lot. The police are there, the SSs are there, civil defense are there, even vigilantes were there, and they cooperated to a larger extent. That's why today we are celebrating this monumental achievement that every Nigerian is expected to be happy with. If this escaped us, only God knows where to land. So please, I'm appealing. All of us here are stakeholders. You don't need to wear uniform, you don't need to be a journalist, you don't need to be what. Any information that will lead to this type of procedures, this type of arrest, please, we want it. You can give us information and be assured that your identity will not be revealed.
The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Strike Force operating in the western zone of the country has impounded goods worth millions of naira from smugglers. The Strike Force coordinator said that his men will continue to arrest and seize consignment not approved by the government.
So now, we are going to showcase 4 spectacular seizures, though we have about 10 of them. You know, the proverbial hunter will not disclose, according to His Excellency, all that he has in his arsenal. Because if he does, he may find himself empty tomorrow. Here before us, for the purpose of analysis, we, since January up to date, Strike Force have been able to generate, through our intervention, both, that is the ICT, over 2 billion naira from DN raised. And who said Strike Force is not working? These young men and women who are charged with the responsibility of overseeing whatever is happening right here in Lagos, Zone A, have been determined, have been able to raise and paid over 2 billion naira. That amount will have gone down, will have gone away. So Nigeria is richer for that particular purpose. The essence, the reason why Strike Force must continue to exist. Then operationally, for the period of 3 weeks since the last press briefing was held, we have, as you captured it rightly at the Training College Ikeja, we have over 1,200 bags of rice. Gentlemen of the press, you agree with me that it is not easy to seize 10 bags of rice. From the current climate since the NSAS protest, when most youths have gone haywire by attacking operatives of government. And this feat is without prejudice to the lives of my officers. We did not record any single calamity. That's very important, because what does a life of an officer worth? Not that we don't face challenges in the course of discharge of our duties, but we know that the people we are dealing with are Nigerians, and they are human beings. So at times, you cannot win all the time, but we have won most of the time. So we equally allow them to have their way, knowing fully well that they are not the rightful owners of these things they are piloting. Here we are, for record, our operatives evacuated a particular warehouse in Lagos, somewhere in Lagos. What we discovered there was mind-boggling. Over 30,000 bags, contraband, were evacuated. You will agree with me, the volatility, how volatile Lagos is, that my operation officers, with tact, intelligence, and determination, able to evacuate that figure, that number, without any stone thrown at them, is as a result of what? Intelligent effort. We got that information by intelligence, through intelligence. That is one. Then we equally have to show you here, you see, a container laden with what? With Ankara. Our textile mills are down because of the activities of few of us. The message. Honest declaration is what we want. Importers and their agent should come to terms with reality that anything they are bringing in should conform to rules and regulation. You are bringing in bags, you are bringing in shoes, you are bringing in things that are prohibited. Just for the simple fact that these are prohibitions. I believe once these things are made dutable, they will not even bring them in. So we have to send that message. We need honest declaration. Everybody should be nationalistic in thinking. We are supposed to be patriotic in our actions so that this country, we have no any other country, we must defend this country, we must protect this country, we must contribute to the quality, high quality of life of this country so that Nigeria will be a better place for our children and our grandchildren to come. Please help us pass this message as the fourth realm of the law. Pass this message that we are all Nigerians, they should reform, they should change, and let's be on the same page. Being that as it may, if they still insist on doing their nefarious activities, we are public servants. We are going to use both intelligence, physical, and the manpower we have to ensure that we checkmate them until we are done with this assignment. What I mean by assignment, even the entire appointment to serve is 35 years or 60 years, the case may be. Until we leave this service, we continue to protect the borders of this country. We are determined, we are encouraged, and we are mobilized.
You are watching the program Customs Report. We continue with the views of two stakeholders in the maritime industry, the National President of ANACA and also the founder of NAGAV, on issues of port and customs clearance at the port.
The whole of these things you are investigating are human elements, and it's solvable. It's just who is there, and then the law. Aside from, let us try to, it's unfortunate that when you begin to talk about the port, you seem to have so much enemies. That's just one problem that you don't know how to go about. This thing I'm discussing with you now, if you hear all of them now, it's as good as never has made so much enemy. But at 67 going to 70 years, if I have an enemy today, it's not early. It's not early, because what I would rather think of our children, what they ought to be. You understand? But things are really not working. That's why I use the word system breakdown. So there must be a kind of presidential fear, state of emergency declared. Because this is the gateway of the nation's economy. Things are not working well. Look at our border, for instance. What are we discussing? We have shut down the border for almost 1 year. Why? What are the reasons? Because of our effectiveness. That's why we cannot man our border, and we shut it down, aside from the fact that Nigeria is a member of ECOWAS, African Union. So what is the essence? If there were issues of security, having bad neighbors and all that, or flout of, bilateral treaties and all that, then within reasonable time, those things are treated. So it's as good as let us now look at, do we still need to be in ECOWAS? If we are not going to be in ECOWAS, we'll get out of ECOWAS, and then we know what we're doing. We're doing a different thing completely. Do you know the volume of waste in this period? If you ask freight forwarders and importers what they lost include shutting down that border. You will not imagine. It's unbelievable. Just last week, two of NAGAF members, the chairman of NAGAF at Samabada, told me he lost about 110 million. Monies he paid the importers. The money he couldn't transferring those containers to Apapa port or any of the ports. And the importers refused to pay because they have already signed contracts. That's one person. So, you know, and we're talking about the economy of Nigeria. Things are not, our actions, our behavior, our attitudes is not favoring the economy. That's the truth.
The truth of the matter is that federal governments, must say, has not done a very good job when it comes to road network, as it were, with the whole ports, Lagos seaports, even Onne seaports, even Calabar seaports, Warri seaports are actually having difficulties of accessing the roads. Taking this from Lagos seaports, you know, we have two major seaports in Lagos. One is Tinkan Island Port, another one is Apapa Port. These two ports have been experiencing for over 20 years, lack of road infrastructure. And federal government has not found it very necessary even to use rails to evacuate the containers to hinterland. And today we have been talking about building the road, maintaining the road, and actually reconstructing the road for almost 20 years. Quote me, because I have been in Apapa for 32 years now. So for almost 20 years, federal government has been talking about building roads and maintaining the roads. Today, Apapa roads are very unmotorable. Even accessing the Tinkan, you must use, if you must go, you must use motorcycles, and you must use, or by trekking. And the containers are not forthcoming. Even the areas now, if you go to that place today, you find out that even the gully gutters they are trying to do there has been obstructing the transportations. They have blocked everywhere. So the issue is very, very, very bad. And this present time, everybody wants to take delivery of his goods or her goods. The whole place is actually not motorable. I've actually met MPA concerning about him, and we have discussed severally with other stakeholders that concerns. Minister of Transportation, the minister has been notified on this issue so that he will know exactly what we're going to do. It's a very, very serious issue in the ports today. You know, when you actually throw a ball on the wall, it's going to react and by bouncing back, right? What you are seeing today is so much bottled anger, that frustrations and anger of what people are going through the ports. The workers' union have actually said warning strike. We are actually saying we are going to follow them suit. But what we are trying to do is to bring in all the Freight Forwarders and Custom Brokers Association together. Tomorrow I'm meeting with NAGAF, and I'm going to meet RF. I'm going to meet some other associations so that we have a very holistic agreement on issues like this, and we will now bring down our services, because we can't continue like this. Honestly, it is very frustrating. You mean whether our revenues are actually increasing too? Yeah. Yes, you know, first of all, let me tell you that every single revenue the customs have generated emanates from a freight forwarder. I am a licensed customs agent. My declaration is what I have actually paid. Customs doesn't go to bank to pay. I pay. So customs is just all about making sure that what I did and in line with what I'm supposed to pay is agreeable. Then if that is the case, they now said, okay, and captured you and exist you. So we actually in line with all the payments. That's why sometimes people are agitating that we are actually revenue generators. In as much as people look at us as brokers, yes, but we generate the revenues too. So if custom is increasing on their revenue generation, automatically we are actually increasing. But let me tell you the caveat there. Most times, because government has given them a target, they tend to meet their target, and they tend to give some unnecessary demand notices. And at the time, you begin to find out that a goods that have been paid properly have been so strict again to have more revenue demand notices on that. And people are saying, you don't have to give me this demand notice because I have.
The Apapa Customs Area Controller has been speaking on the visit of the House of Rep members in the port, so that with their visit to the Nigerian Port Authority alongside the Nigerian Customs Service, we continue to generate more revenue for the country.
So the issue is the technical committee of Customs Committee of the House of Reps came here on oversight functions. So as soon as they came, they want to know about budgeting, contracts, if any, and I've explained to them that the budgeting is not done here, it's done in the headquarters, and even contracts were given at the headquarters. So they mentioned, all of them asked questions about scanning. So I took them round to the examination area. We went to the scanning site, and they were kind of shocked what they saw, that the scanning was not working. So I told them that the CGC has been trying for about 2-3 years to get the scanners working or get new ones. So luckily enough, the federal government, through the Executive Council, have approved that new scanners to be provided. So this is what transpired. Yes, they did, because in my address at the beginning of the meeting, I mentioned the revenue generated between January to November, the exact date they came, and I showed them the progress we made compared to January to November 2019. Then I presented our anti-smuggling efforts, the seizures made, and all that. So all of them were impressed with our performance.
The seizure of drugs?
Yes, I mentioned. I said we've seized about 311 containers. Out of that, about 74 containers were drugs, tramadol, and other drugs that have not get certification from NAFDAC.
Just before the end of this week edition of the program Customs Report, we brought you a report where guns were apprehended by the newly appointed controller in charge of Zone B in Kaduna. For me, Igeseme Itinye, thanks for watching.